You're listening to VK Career Conversations with Val. The reason I decided to do this is that we all come from a place of insecurity or just not knowing where we want to go with our career. We'll be consistent. We will feed your soul. We want you to ask questions, gaining information so that you can move forward in your career. Well, hello, and to my co-host, Dr. Pinkston. How are you doing this morning?
I am great. I'm
doing wonderful. Our other co-host, which is Dr. Lord Day, she's going to be popping in here probably about 10 minutes after we've gotten the show started. She was running a little late. I guess she still is on a little London, still on her travel time, right?
I hope so. Bless her heart.
I know. But we're going to take this conversation over. Are you overstaying your welcome? I was excited when Abigail and I were sitting down talking about this, because a lot of times we don't even realize when we've stayed too long, or maybe we do realize it and we're just afraid to take that step.
Yeah, it's true. I think about a lot of NFL quarterbacks and coaches and people like that.
Oh my God. It's like, give it up. So we're going to have this conversation this morning. But before I get going, I want to know how you're doing and what was your weekend like? And I'm going to give a huge shout out to the man of my dreams. Today is my husband's 62nd birthday. Yeah. And trust me when I tell you, he is out there. He's letting everybody know it. So the kids got something planned for him tonight that he has no idea. I'm just riding the wave with them. And happy birthday, baby. We love you. And I hope you're enjoying yourself at work.
He is a doll. I got to meet him this weekend. Finally got to come to Houston and meet you in person now. And got to meet the family and Abigail and everybody. We had a great time. Got to watch the eclipse afterwards too.
And I know that you guys got to see that. So tell me, how did you get such a clear picture?
I ordered this thing called a snap something, and it went over my phone, just Velcroed over and just protected the lens. And then we had our little glasses on too that we did. It was nothing. It was like $20 off of Amazon.
Oh, wow.
Wasn't that a great picture?
That was a great picture. I'm telling you, I was like, what an experience. You can't get that back.
No. Well, if we had been in San Antonio, we would have been in the Ring of Fire. We would have seen the exact, the whole Ring of Fire. We were dead center for that. But we were in Houston there, so we were a little off center. But yeah, no, it was a great picture.
That's okay. You still had a great picture.
I know, right?
So where did you guys go to check it out?
We were just back at the hotel. We had to run to the hotel. I had a gala on Saturday night that I was speaking at. So we had to run to the hotel and just do that real quick and then get in the car and jet back to San Antonio. So just down the parking lot.
Okay then. Well, all righty then. What else? Do you have anything else to share with us before we get into this conversation? Anything you want to share with the people?
Not that enough. I think most everybody's starting to know me out there. I'm a family practitioner here in San Antonio and practice integrative medicine more than family practice, really. But I have a radio show and a podcast that I do on YouTube and all. I love it. drpbetterlife.com. I really want people to go check out. That's the medicine side, but we're on the career side. There's our girl.
There's Day. Hey, how you doing?
I'm great.
We already let them know she was coming on in here because she's still on her little London vacation. Yes. So we give her a pass. We're gonna give her a whole pass for about a week. Right.
That's
because maybe a week or two, because she did her thing for her. So we're going to hear a little bit about it. Hello, Dr. Pinkston. Before we move on the integrated medicine, I've had a couple of people ask me,
what is that?
Can you explain a little bit more about what that is?
I think most people these days, when they think of medicine, think about going to your doctor and getting diagnosed with a, cholesterol, sugar problem, getting a pill, a medication, spending 10 minutes with their doctor and leaving with, prescriptions. And most people, what they're really looking for these days are doctors that will truly listen and get to the basis of what's going on, trying to stay away from medications, get healthy, and I wouldn't say doing things more natural necessarily. There there are some great medications and contemporary treatments and whatnot out there that are wonderful. And so I really, if you look at contemporary medicine, if you stay just with that, you can go too far this way. If you get into natural holistic medicine, you can go too far that way too. I bring the best of both worlds together, integrate them, and that way you know just really try to focus on what's really the true problem underneath and solve that, as opposed to just give a blanket diagnosis in a pill, a recipe pill, to somebody.
So what I'm hearing you say that is that you take all of the options a patient would have
Hmm.
at your disposal to
Hmm.
give them the best outcome for whatever
Absolutely.
their diagnosis for
Right.
is.
And not just look at it from a disease perspective. Well, you've developed
Correct.
heart disease, so here we got to just give you this pill and just band-aid it. It's more,
Hmm.
it's getting away from a band-aid approach in medicine and trying to really prevent and treat and get to the heart of what people are suffering from, and see if we can fix the body and the mind, and bring that so people can just live a healthier, longer, better quality of life.
Okay, excellent, excellent. Well, Day, welcome to the
Hello,
back to the
hello.
family. Tell us a little bit about you, and of course, a little bit about your journey before we get into
Uh,
overstaying our. You're welcome.
Okay, so hi everybody. Welcome. I'm happy to be back with the VK Career Conversations, and I am of course Dave Smith, productivity strategist for business owners who are looking for more structure and system in their businesses so they can scale and grow. And I had the privilege of traveling to Canada this past
Mhm.
weekend for 5 days to meet with my mastermind group and to talk about vision planning. And I was reluctant to extend my trip because I'm like, I'm gonna be away from the family. I got stuff to do. It's busy, busy. But my girls wouldn't let me do that. Miss Val and Dr. Pinkston was very adamant about me taking that extra time for myself.
You
And I'm
have
so
to.
glad I did
Thank
because
you.
it was amazing. It was amazing.
Good.
And it was what I needed. And it was really a spiritual journey for me these last those 5 days there. So it was really great for me.
Great.
Oh, I
Absolutely.
love to hear you say it was a spiritual journey for you
Hmm.
Yes.
because you can't really get connected the way you need to get connected when you're always around others and things is always moving. Sometimes you have to take time for just you and him, just
Absolutely.
in solitude. So I'm glad that you did that day. I'm just looking at your face. I'm looking at
She
your
looks better,
smile.
doesn't she?
Oh
Yeah.
my God. And just you're smiling through your eyes this
Yeah.
morning.
Yeah.
She
Yes,
Yeah.
does.
literally,
Wow.
you're
Wow.
smiling through
I
your
see it.
eyes. So
I
I'm
see it.
glad you did take that extra day. Oh God, I can't wait for our sidebar conversation.
Yeah.
But I'm going to go ahead and get this conversation going. As you know, I always say when you heard the title, Overstaying Your Welcome, what did you think about? Either one of you can take that. What came to your mind?
Go ahead,
Well,
Day. I threw
for
one out there
me,
on.
I immediately went to my corporate job, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I feel like I'm in a space where I'm overstaying my welcome.
Mm.
Being in a place longer than I feel like I need to, and
Mm-hmm.
then immediately thinking about, okay, what do I need to do to not fix it, but like move in the right direction.
Mm-hmm.
So I think overstaying your welcome is just a space of awareness, first and foremost. And then also thinking about, okay, if you're not happy with where you are, what can you be doing to change the situation or correct it? So that's where
Mm-hmm.
my mind went when I heard that topic.
Well, Dr. Pinkston, what did you think about it? And I'm going to tell you what I thought about it. You kind of said it earlier, but I want to hear you say it again.
Well, I'll mention that again. And what I think about is when people are afraid to take a step out of their comfort zone. When we get into a spot where we're in a job and we think this is where we're supposed to be because either we're doing it, to just make money and do this for other people. And we, are thinking about, oh, I'm too old to change careers, or, I don't have enough money and I'm not secure enough financially to really change careers and go to school, and that fear, to take that step out. And that's when that fear is actually telling you that it's time. It's actually, you're thinking about it, it's time to go. But I did mention too in the very beginning about thinking about a lot of NFL quarterbacks or coaches, or sports figures, who are stay and stay and stay and just don't know when it's, they always say go out when you're on top, and that's the best time to go. And that was another place where I think about people who are staying too long in a place where it's time to go out dignified and hand it over and let somebody else run with the ball. So two different situations.
And for me, as we were coming up with that conversation, I really have to say that it resonated with me because a lot of times we know it's time for us to leave, but I think sometimes the fear sets in, the what ifs.
Yeah.
Is it really my time, or am I taking on someone else's energy? I do believe once it starts to manifest itself that you're not happy, you don't feel yourself really growing. I think it's time for you, or maybe you feel like you're just in a dead end. I think it's time for you to do some self evaluation on the situation and looking within. For me, um, I think about, am I overstaying my welcome, not just in my professional career, but even in my with relationships and
Mm-hmm.
in and people that I deal with on day to day, and even in situations. Am I overstaying my welcome?
True.
Because it does play over into your professional career. Your emotions go with you everywhere you go.
Right. That's very well said. Agreed.
So, with that being said, let's talk about it from a professional standpoint. When you're when you're grappling or wrestling with, am I overstaying my welcome in the professional career? What are some of the things that stand out to you, Day, since you're in that field, in the corporate America right now? What are some of the things that's tugging at you,
Mhm.
or if there's anything tugging?
Yeah, yeah, I think lack of fulfillment comes up.
Yeah.
Maybe resentment even because you're thinking about it,
Yeah.
um you have to be careful though not to think that the grass is greener on the other side, but really be strategic about it, because
Hmm.
I've seen people who feel like they need to make moves and they do, and they're like, oh, I should have stayed there. So you really have to think about it, and you may make the wrong decision, but you make the best decision given everything that you have. You think about the dynamics, your family, your lifestyle, your income, where you're going to live and all those things, and then you make the best decision. But I think professionally it's always going to be, going back to what you said about fear. If you're going to a new space, you are going to be fearful, that you have to have faith that it will work out,
Mm-hmm.
especially if you feel like the pros outweigh the cons and it's going to be better for you at the end of the day.
I think that a lot of times when you're making any type of decision, if you're making that decision in an emotional state, that emotional state is what's unhealthy because you're going to miss something.
Yeah.
I do believe that you have to evaluate yourself because you're moving up to that decision. You don't just get there one day and say, I'm not happy. You're moving into that process. And one of the things that I think is very important and that's key is that you really have to ask yourself that question.
Mm-hmm.
What is it that why am I not feeling fulfilled? Is it on the job, or is it something going on within me that
Right.
has nothing to do with the job because I'm bringing baggage in here? Or am I just not, there is no, I'm not able to thrive anymore. I've capped this position out. There is nowhere further I can go. I don't know. Pinkston, you want to jump on that a little
Yeah,
bit?
I'm kind of making some notes here as you guys are talking, because I think it's really important that, first of all, if you are in a place and you're thinking about it and it hits your mind, it's ultimately time. I mean,
Right.
we all get uncomfortable in our spaces and whatnot. Most people are generally kind of happy and don't have that little thought that comes to them and just says, maybe I should be doing something else, or maybe I could be doing something. I'm just not
Mhm.
happy where I am and I want to move to a different place. But, there's so many factors, and I guess it depends on where you are in life. If you're really young, and kind of looking at your future and the world's your oyster, that's a little bit easier. As you get a little bit older and you add, people to your life, you add a family, you add school debt, you add,
Right.
many factors that play a role in there. And then, the only other thing that I think about too is that, timing is everything. And so people sometimes can be a little over spontaneous and kind of jump out there maybe, and you wind up burning a bridge or biting
Mhm.
off more than you can chew and things like that. So I just tell people, if you are getting to, and then burnout, that's another place where,
Mhm.
really, if you're getting burned out, that tends to make you more emotional and not think
Mhm.
real clearly. So I tell people when in my clinic, when they're getting ready and thinking about something like this, that it's okay to think about it. Definitely, timing is everything. Start making a list of the pros and cons of this decision, and really think about it, but also start communicating with people around you. Let people know you're getting antsy or uncomfortable. I mean,
Mhm.
you feel like you're gonna burn a bridge when you do that. If you tell your boss, that I feel like I'm not growing here, they may think, oh, well, I've got a perfect position for you. I
Right.
see you may want to, yeah, I feel like you do deserve better. I just didn't know you wanted to do something different, or communicate with your family. I'm not happy where I am. Can we start looking at a plan, for me to go to school next year or something? So anyway, that's kind of what I think of in a big picture sense for.
One of the things you said something, and I don't want us to make light of it because we think about the professional athletes, staying it's too long because it's almost like it's a drug. And,
Right.
and well, I was an athlete years ago, wasn't a professional athlete, but you enjoy the competitiveness and you feel like if you walk away from something, then um, you're leaving something on the table. But
Mhm.
sometimes walking away is walking into. But I
Right.
love that we have
I
to
like that.
just evaluate the situation and
Mhm.
don't measure my leaving with someone else's leaving. I was listening to a podcast earlier today, and someone on that podcast had mentioned that last week they turned in their letter of resignation, and she said, I have something to share with the group. It was a group that she said, of course the question was what. She says, well, I did it, I turned in my resignation. And so the commenter said, well, what are you going to do next? She said, I have no idea. She said, but I know I'm older. I'm not going to be sitting at home baking the chicken all for hubby every day. I'm not going to be keeping the grandkids on just whenever. I'm going to do something for me. She said,
Wow.
I gave my 2 weeks notice and I knew I couldn't do it anymore, but I have no clue of what the
Right.
future has for me. I
Sure.
know that it's more than what is going on with me. She was talking about her health
Yeah.
and how her blood pressure was up and how she was stressing out. And for the last 2 years, she just had been in such an unhealthy place. And she went into the office and said, this is it. And then she called her husband and said, I just quit. And
Oh my.
he just asked her, and I'm telling you, it resonated with me. And he just asked her, are you okay? And she said, yes. He
Oh,
said, well, we're going to be fine. And it just resonated with me because
Yeah.
that's kind of how it was for me a little
Yeah.
bit.
mm,
So I think when you get to that place, it's not something that you just got to. It's been a
Yeah.
process.
You know, I can speak to
mm,
that a little bit. And I know we have kind of a younger demographic, but what you're saying is something ultimately that I'm approaching with my career as well. I'm only 54, but I've been doing this almost 30 years now. And
mhm,
Yes.
this year, I just hit this point when I mentioned burnout. I'm thinking of myself. This year, I hit that burnout
Yes.
mode, and I've done the same thing. I've been talking to people and telling them that by the end of the year, I will still be at my clinic. I will still, see patients and whatnot, but my job is going to change. And what
Yes.
I don't know. I've got several irons in the fire. Let me tell you,
Yes.
but you sometimes you just reach this point where you're like, I think it forces you to make a change, even if you're not completely planned and ready. And I would like to be a little bit more planned than that, because I have children in college and lots of people to take care of,
Right. Right.
and a little better than that. But everybody around me was very supportive and said, you've earned it now to be able to make some decisions.
And
And
I don't think it's anything wrong with really coming to that place of saying, I'm tired. But you have to really think about, and maybe you have worked this woman that was this lady that was speaking this morning. She had been in her profession for many years, and she said that she really had thought it, she just couldn't do it anymore.
It just
And so, to our younger demographics, I want you to put in here in your comments, give us some questions on: are you feeling burnout? Are you overstaying your welcome? Or are you in a place in your professional career that you're wanting to make some changes? Or are you wanting to do something different? Whatever questions you have for us along this
please,
conversation, throw them in here.
please.
Day, you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, so when I was doing some work in around generational differences, since we're talking about where you guys are and where the population of the listeners are,
Mhm.
what we noticed is that the millennials, the even Gen Zers, yeah, under the
Yeah.
millennials, are more attracted to being a part of something that has a bigger purpose.
Right.
Like you would
Right.
literally leave your job, money, status, all the things,
Yeah.
if you don't have a connection to something. Versus, I've seen my mom, and I have an older sister who's a Gen Wire, and she's more of or Gen X. She's like, I'm gonna stick with it and keep working because that's kind of how I was raised. I'm gonna put in the
Hmm.
time, and
Hmm.
they'll stick it out even till to the detriment, right?
Mm.
They'll stick it out. And I feel like as a younger generation has that drive to a purpose and a fulfillment that's beyond the status and the money, you really may get to the point of feeling like you have overstayed your welcome quicker and ready to make a jump more so than your
Agree.
parents and your older siblings.
And I
So
love that because
yeah,
it's
I think that
true.
that
Go
happens
ahead.
more.
Yes.
I
Yes.
really
It
love
happens
that. And
more.
that's what I love about the younger generation, because at the same time, that's the same thing that drives me crazy about y'all too. But anyway, I love the fact that if it doesn't mean something to you, if it doesn't connect with you guys, you're not going to stay there. And I think that's a great thing for an employer. I think that's great for the business because that also helps the business move on if you're not happy. If
Mhm.
you're not, I don't, I wouldn't want to recommend my kids stay in something that's not going to make them happy, because
Absolutely.
they're not going to be fulfilled and they're going to mess their own reputation up.
Right.
However, you can't jump ship soon as you get in there. You
Right.
got to give it a chance. You can't be a quitter, because if you're quitting all the time, you just will never succeed at anything. That's kind of my.
I told
That
my
part.
kids that I said, guys, everybody asks, are your kids going to go into medicine? I'm like, I hope not. It is not the same, but they have their own dreams and their own vision of what they want
Hmm.
to
Yes.
do. And I tell my kids, I said, just whatever you do, I support, but just make sure you do something that you really love, because
Right.
that's going to swallow your life. You're going to do it all the time. So just make sure it's something that you love and fulfills you. Absolutely.
If you're doing something you enjoy, then it's not work.
Right.
However, in the position that you're in, sometime it can take a different direction. Wait a minute. You can
Comment
in
from
this
Herman.
comment. Wait a minute. What did Herman say here?
Herman said, he said, I'm a lazy guy, and if you guys are seeing me here, then it's only because of this
Oh,
show.
Oh,
great.
I
Thank
love it.
you.
Love it,
Herman,
Herman.
we love you. Thank you so much. See, that's the kind of stuff we love. I tell you, I really, really love our.
We've had lots of great comments come up. I don't know if y'all
We
see
do.
those.
Come
Yeah,
on,
we
we're gonna go
have.
ahead.
Yeah, those are good.
I haven't caught them all. I just saw y'all facial expression. I'm like, oh my god.
A lot of
So
people are
funny.
saying hello, but Kevin said, you guys make every Wednesday special.
That's wonderful.
Oh,
Oh,
thank
thank you,
you,
Thank you,
Kevin.
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 Thank you so much.
Thanks,
We
everybody.
want to hear from you guys too. So please throw in there. Are you in your current role? I know that some of you all are working right now, or maybe some of you all are sleeping.
Yeah.
I don't know, or laying down, not sleeping. What are some of the things are you questioning whether or not you're overstaying your welcome?
Yeah.
And it's not just at work, maybe in a relationship.
Yeah.
Let us know. Tell us. Share
Being
with us so
safe,
we can talk about it.
safety, fear. We talk about fear, but is it so much fear or is it just feeling safe? You're
Mm.
taking the safe road. It's hard to make big, bold decisions and step out there and do something really, brave and take the chance, the money, just again, I say, we say it's fear, but I don't know. I think I prefer to look at it as just playing it safe and trying to not rock the boat in my life
But,
too much, or
but what is safety? What is playing it safe if it's not a
if it's not
fear and it's just again, you're the doctor. Give me the prescription.
yeah.
What is it playing it safe?
We do a lot of
If
things that we fear, and I think people are willing to step through their fears a little bit and take those chances. But again, I just think about rocking the boat from a financial standpoint. Again, if you've got big debt and loans, I got a friend. I'll just put this out. This is what's on my mind. I've got a friend right now who's in a terrible situation. She is in need of divorcing a man who is terrible to her and not pulling his weight in finances and whatnot. And she's got her own business, entrepreneur, smart woman, but she's stuck. And I keep telling her, it's gonna be there for you. Just take a chance. Just do what you need to do. And I know she's afraid, but she said, I'm not afraid. I know I need to do this. I'm gonna do this. I'm not afraid to do it. But what about the time? Is it, my finances aren't good right
But
now?
here's the thing, she's taking care of everything by herself
That's,
right now. So what's the difference
that's
if
what
she goes and do it on her own? And that's why I always like to say about the fear. The
Yeah.
fear, hey guys, you're doing it yourself.
You're
If you
already
just
doing
open
it.
your eyes and see how much you're taking in and you're holding it together, you're doing it on your own right now.
This is what I told her though. And so she runs her own business, right? And her energy is a mess right now. So she is
Mm,
attracting a whole different type of clientele.
Yeah.
mm.
And her business isn't growing. And I'm like, when you are not with this man and in this situation, you are flying, and that
Yeah.
your energy is completely different. If you get out of this situation, change up your energy, you're going to attract a lot better clientele, people who are willing to work and pay and
Yes.
stay. And
Well, because you're walking in that dead spirit, and please excuse me when I say that, well, you're carrying a ball and chain around, and you think that that's not reflective in everything that you do and everything that you say. It is.
absolutely, it is.
And it's in your actions. Well, we got some questions out here. Oh, I'm sorry. Abigail want to jump in. Come on, Abby.
Yeah, I really liked what you said, Dr. Pinkston, about your friend. I think a lot of people want to have it all figured out before
Yeah,
they take the next step.
Yeah.
They want to figure out all the logistics. And the reality is nothing ever goes to plan. You
Nothing.
could have everything planned out to a T and one thing could be off and then your whole plan is
Thank you.
wrecked.
Because
And you
it's
have
not
to
your plan, it's his plan.
exactly.
Mhm.
And so I think if someone's feeling like if you're feeling like something isn't right for you anymore, trust your gut.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Trust that your body is telling you and your mind is telling you and God is telling you that it maybe you need to move on from something, and it'll figure itself out. 9 times out of 10, it'll figure
No.
itself out.
And I love that you said it. 9 times out of 10, it's already figured itself out. It's just waiting on you to move.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna go ahead. Let's take some of these questions. I think I see one here from Hey Donald. Donald James is
Want me
out
to do
of
that one?
yeah, let's do that one. That's one of my classmates out there. Hey Donald, how you doing? What is this question?
Donald said, "What if quitting is the only way to avoid the feeling of burnout?"
Can I take this one?
Yes, you can. Come on now.
Well,
Go
I
for it.
am where I don't know if that is if you're speaking from your personal experience at the moment or whatnot, but I'm there. And sometimes it is like I was explaining before, looking at the end of the year, I have reached this point this year where, and it's been coming since COVID, people have changed. A lot has changed about the business. And I would have never, 2 years ago, I would have never have thought that I would be wanting to retire from what I'm doing right now. And it just hit me this year. And I am literally my cup is full. And so I'm getting restless and I'm not happy. I'm getting snappy at people. And, and the other thing that has come to my mind is I'm a person who always does the right thing. And if I am not in I left a room from a patient not too long ago where I told my student that was with me, I did not give her my 100%. And I've never done that before. It is time.
Wow.
It's time.
That's
Time.
that
It's
part.
time to do something.
And because I'm in healthcare with you,
Yeah,
it's time because that's when the mistakes come in.
that's right. And
You
I,
know,
Yeah.
because it's time. And even if it's just for a little while,
right.
but you got to take that time. You got to step back and
Well,
figure out,
sometimes
hey,
it
what I'm
is.
doing here. Yeah, something has.
Burnout pushes you to do it right now. And if you know that you are going to either hurt somebody or,
Mhm.
stop being ethical about what you're doing, it's not because you're an unethical
Ethical
person.
person, right?
Just because when you get to that point of exhaustion,
It's time.
you're not able to give yourself in the way you are supposed to. And that is
Um,
that's a sign.
Wow.
amazing, amazing.
That's a very vulnerable thing you shared,
It's
Dr.
tough.
Pinkston,
Yes,
just to
it is.
say and that awareness. Like,
Mhm.
I appreciate that. That was powerful.
I called her later. And I told
Mm,
her, I said, I wanted to reiterate something we were discussing in the room. She was upset and
Hmm.
I could tell. And so I called her later and I said, look, that was uncomfortable. It was for me, for you. I apologize. I want to invite you back. Let's revisit this and work. Sometimes people are not perfect. And so you just have to, you have to be forgiving in that, but I want to invite you back. Let's redo this. And she did. She came back.
That speaks volumes of your character. Okay, give us the next one.
The next question is from Terry Alexander.
Hey Terry, how you doing this morning?
Terry said, "Have you ever felt unmotivated?"
Mm-hmm.
Oh
absolutely.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes, yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's okay.
It is
Take the
okay.
time. It is okay.
It's not
Yes.
natural.
But
It's
why?
natural.
Yeah.
Why do you feel unmotivated? Is it
So,
feeling depressed? Maybe are you
come
going
on
through
now.
something really, really tough in your life, or are you
Mm,
just overworked and exhausted? Or you've got to look
mm,
at why you're unmotivated. It is kind of a natural thing from time to time for people to feel that way. But if you're finding yourself in a hole and this is becoming a repetitive thing, you got to find out what's inside of you right there that is pushing that
yeah.
that lack of
Yeah.
motivation and
I
face
I found out over the weekend of my trip that suppressed desires
it. Mm-hmm.
equals depression.
Oh.
Wow.
So, or unmotivation or anxiety.
Mm.
Suppressed desires. You're like pushing this
Pushing.
desire to do something down, and that is what's causing the lack of motivation, the depression. So
Another
I would go back
dayism.
to,
Oh wow. I
I would go
love
back,
that.
I love that.
I love that. Can you
suppressed
say that
desires.
one? Please say that
Yes.
again.
So that is suppressed desires causes this depression.
Yeah. I
Think
agree.
about it, suppressed desires.
Yeah.
And so
Wow.
the lack of motivation comes there. So going back to Dr. Pinkston, ask yourself why. Why is
Mhm.
that coming up? What is really trying to come out of you or come
That
through
you're
Mhm.
trying to push
that you're
down.
trying to push
Wow.
down?
Yeah.
Wow.
And I
Okay.
think also too, if you are doing something that you love, sometimes that's when you can start to feel unmotivated, because especially if you're doing it for work, right?
Right.
Because you're used to doing something as a passion and now you have to do it and now you have these projects
Mm,
to get done and you can be like, wow, that's like the last thing I want to do today.
Yeah.
You're
yeah,
like, I
yeah,
Good.
kind of want to just chill,
I
you
want to
know?
Take a
chill.
break.
Yeah.
yeah.
Take a
Ask the
break.
why.
Take a
Ask the take a break. Yeah. Okay. Give us the next ones.
This one is really good. This is from Abraham James. He said, "Have you ever given your 100% but still feel disappointed with that?"
Mm.
Oh,
This
okay.
is for the big go-getters out there, the type A's that are never happy with themselves. Maybe I see that in my daughter sometimes. She's
Mhm.
she's doing wonderful, and yet she just beats herself up so hard. And
It's so
people,
funny you say that because I kind of had a similar conversation with my baby girl.
mm,
And I was sharing with her that it's okay to choose you.
mhm,
She had a situation. She called me. She was pretty upset. They had an active shooter
ooh,
at the fair in Dallas,
right,
and she was there, her and a friend. And if she's listening, I'm sorry, but I think it's very appropriate to share. They were there. And so there was going to be her and a friend, and it was going to be a couple other friends that went, but she went and the friend. And then, of course, the active shooter situation took. So they had everybody exiting and they're trying to get to their vehicles, and people are screaming and running. And this other friend that chose to go with other friends called them and said, "Can you pick us up?" Because they left out, but they rode the train there. And she said, no, I'm trying because it's going to take them back
Mhm.
versus taking them forward. Well, this other friend got upset with her and she was feeling conflicted in her emotions for choosing to get to safety versus going back and pick up. And I said, you have to choose yourself. I said, you've never been in a situation where there is an active shooter. You made the right call to go and get yourself to safety. You
Mhm.
could have ran back in to a situation that none of y'all would have been able to get out of. I
Mhm.
said, so you can't allow other people to make your decisions when you knew that it was coming from a good place, make you feel bad about your decisions.
Right.
So I just kind of had to throw that in because sometime in trying to do the right thing, we
Mhm.
second guess ourselves because we're choosing what's right for us in the moment.
Yeah. Yeah. True. Yeah. That's a very good
Yeah.
example of that.
Yeah.
She
Does that
did the
make
right
sense?
thing.
It
She
does.
did the right.
It does.
Yeah.
Don't
Yeah.
put yourself in harm's way. It's sometimes always choosing to do the right thing and giving your 100% actually does put you in harm's way somehow. And
Yes.
so you just always have to sit back and evaluate what is best for
For
you.
you.
I tell my daughter too, it's like, really, if you can just say you're doing the best you can, that
Mhm.
is all that matters. It's not, whether it's perfectly done or the right thing or the wrong thing, or, just always face every situation with, I am doing ask yourself, am I doing the best I can? And if your answer is yes, then fine, let it be. If it's no, well, then just evaluate it. Don't use that against yourself and
Right.
with that negative, talk and that negative feedback. Just use it as a learning, as a
And
something to learn about yourself. What you
And I
can.
think the big thing here, if I can give anything, any piece of that to someone else, don't allow someone else to weaponize you when you know that you are making a decision that's best for you in the
Right,
moment,
right,
and there is no malice intent.
right.
Sometimes people bring their own brokenness to you, and they want to leave their crap in your lap, and
Absolutely.
to kind of play on your emotions. It's okay to choose you. And that's what I like to talk to my younger self. And I like to talk to younger people. It's okay, and older. It's okay to choose you. And you're not being selfish. You're just choosing you.
Right.
Yeah.
It's
I,
true.
I always say my dad used to tell me, people will do things for them, not to you. And so to
Hmm.
flip that around, if
Right.
your friend, your daughter, if she needs to have this conversation with her friend, she can say, I didn't do that to you. I didn't leave you. I left for me. So
Right.
Yes.
to help her
Right.
friend understand it wasn't something
That's well
against you.
said.
I just need to do that for me,
Yeah.
to
Right.
help her
Yeah.
understand, and that she should
Yeah.
hope that she makes the same decisions too if she gets
Yeah.
in that situation.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
100%. Okay. You want to go? Go ahead.
Yes, we have another question from Rosemary Fletcher. She said, if someone is always telling you what to do and what not to do, have you ever felt burdened about that?
Mm.
Mm.
Actually, I'm gonna say
Keep it
no
up.
for me. I'll let someone else take that because I'm okay with saying if it just doesn't feel right, I'm gonna give whoever. I'm just gonna tell you the truth. Go ahead.
The way I interpreted that question was because it actually brought up a memory of a conversation I had with someone recently.
Mhm.
She has this like work friend that is like constantly coming to her
Mhm.
about her like boy problems, her relationship
Okay.
problems, and she is starting to feel like burdened by that. She's
Okay.
like, okay, this is overwhelming for me. I can't really give you the time and attention that I feel you need right now. And I think that kind of goes back to what you were saying about your daughter.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you have to put yourself first because you can't be everyone's support system or their therapist and
No.
stuff like that.
Well, that was me, and I was just a bag of mess years ago. That's why I say I like to talk to my younger self because I talk to my younger self and my older self because I can't advise anybody or help anybody else if I keep saying, "Well, it's okay." No, I was tore from the floor up trying to be perfect for everyone else, and
Right.
It's just an unhealthy place to live in.
It's very burdensome
Yeah.
if someone is like constantly coming to you with their negativity and their problems,
Right.
Yes, and dropping their garbage in your lap.
and then just walking off.
Yeah.
Yep.
Exactly.
So
Put your oxygen mask on first. Okay.
Yeah.
You got-
If you get on the plane,
Oh, what you say? If you get
first, and then the next one, right?
yes, put it on for. I love
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Okay, we got to make sure we tag that one. Put your oxygen mask on
Mask on
first.
first.
I love it. Okay.
I have another question. This one is from Stephen Robart. He
Mhm.
says, what kind of situation do you think it is acceptable when people want to give up on certain things of their life?
Mm.
Whether that be a career, whether that be maybe a hobby or
I think when you've tried,
relationship.
and you guys jump into, I think whenever you've tried and you've done everything you can to try and make something work, whether it be, or you've given it your all, even in your career, and you're still feeling this sense of burnout, or you're feeling like unfulfilled, even in a relationship, when that relationship have come to a point that it's just toxic, no matter you've went to counseling, you've done everything that you can to
Yeah.
try to turn it around. At some point, you have to choose you. You have to choose your joy and your happiness. Ladies, what would you say?
Day said it best, and that was trust your gut.
Yeah.
Trust your gut. Your gut is going to tell you the truth. It is. And you're going to deny it, and you're going to tell it no, and you're going to try to do it a different way.
Mhm.
Between trusting your gut and the suppressed desires, I think those are the very specific deisms right there that you just need to follow. Make it easy. That's it.
Yes. Well,
I
and
just
of
listen to myself too.
yes, and put that oxygen mask on.
With oxygen
Uh-huh.
mask on.
Well, we got quite a few. They're coming so fast. Does anybody else? Hey, y'all want to take a couple of questions that's coming through? You see them there. Go ahead.
I don't see him.
Don't see them
You
yet.
see them?
You don't see them? Okay. Abigail stepped out. Here is one. I'm straightening my eyes. I think it was Pierce Reese. No, that wasn't it. Ray Braylon. Well asked. I can't see. I can't see. It's so little. I can't see
Oh, I
him.
can see comments. Let me get off the
I
screen
can't
and look.
see it. Okay. Can you give them? I really, it's so little. I need my glasses and I have no contacts. I can't see it. She
There's
just walked.
some that came in. Let's
She got
see.
them.
Good
Come
one.
on,
Okay.
Abigail. Give it to us. How dare you walk away in the
Sorry,
middle
I
of
had
the
to
show?
put my oxygen mask
You had to
on.
put on oxygen. You had to take care of you, huh?
Yeah. I need to take a little Advil,
Yeah.
So
Go to Ray.
Ray. Okay.
Mhm.
Ray said, well, we all want to talk to our younger self and give them a slap and ask them, why did you do that one time?
And it's okay to do that every now and again, Ray. It's you just have to talk.
Take accountability. It's great.
Take
Take accountability and
Yes.
just call it what it is. And
Yes.
understand
Yes.
that feeling.
Give us a few more before we have to wrap up.
Yes. So I'm gonna ask another question.
Okay.
From Guillermo Watson.
Hey, Guillermo, it's been a minute.
He said, have you guys ever felt motivated from your family?
So
From our family.
Have you
motivated
got
to do something different, maybe, or to make a change?
Guillermo, give us a little more on that one. Have we ever felt motivated from our family? Motivated to leave? I mean, what do you mean? Give us a little more.
I'll jump
cut
into
them off. Okay,
I'll
what?
jump into another question to see if Guillermo can give us a little more context for that
Okay.
question. I'm going to blend these two questions together because I think they kind of go hand in hand.
Okay.
Bertha Guerrero said, did you ever feel the fear of quitting?
Yeah.
And then Paul Brown says, is it okay to quit when it's too much for us?
Yes.
Yes.
I've had the fear of quitting, and it's okay to quit when it's
Mhm.
you.
Yeah.
What would you say? Come on, ladies.
Yeah, absolutely. The fear of quitting because you don't want to get to the point where you're giving less than to something that needs your full, effort,
Mhm.
and when it's time to quit because you're at that point. And fear of quitting, absolutely. Like I feel like if you don't have the fear of quitting, I don't know, maybe you're not doing it right because
Right? Maybe you don't
it
have
is
a
a
conscience
natural
or
Yes.
emotion.
Yes.
So you have to have like boldness when you do it. That's why it's kind of like the opposite. The opposite of fear is courage. That's what you're gonna need in order to get there. So it's definitely normal to feel fear when you're quitting something.
Fear tells you that you are either in danger or you're in, a space or thinking about something that isn't right for you. And so you just have to use that fear instead of making it a run for your life moment or, something that you create a lot of negativity, a lot of doom and gloom around or whatnot. You have to turn it into something positive and look at it from an aspect of, well, if I fear doing this, why do I fear doing this? What are the pros and cons of making a decision like that? And then that will tell you. I love lists. I love pros and cons lists. That is something that makes me look at it in a more objective fashion to say that, that my pros list is really long over here. I think this is an okay thing to do. It just kind of puts it out there a little differently. And being motivated to change a situation that doesn't feel that's right for you, that is just something that's your gut telling you that there's a different place you need to be.
And I like to take it on another side is fear is not always having a thought of fear is not always negative.
Right.
Sometimes there is a fear. We pull it into a fear gut because we may be moving into something that is unfamiliar.
Mm-hmm.
And so we don't want to look a certain way, like we don't know what we're doing or we're incapable of doing it. You're not in harm's way. It's something that you've put on yourself. So I just let's not just put it in a negative connotation.
Absolutely. Agreed.
Oh. Gilmore came back and what did he say?
Yes, Guillermo said, my question was like, have you guys ever feel motivated or give up the idea of quitting for your family?
Oh, sure. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Now I see what you mean. So yeah. So you're wanting to quit and you feel like you need to go a different direction, but your family, makes you feel like, or you feel like you're the head of the family or you're providing for the family and you're afraid to, do that. So you put your family first. I think we all do that, men or women. And that can be very dangerous because, your family, that's where I say communicate with your spouse, communicate with your children and let them know that you're in a situation. I think they'd be very proud of you for looking at a situation and wanting to work it out with them and involve them or, get their input, but to let them know too, that give them an example that, if they're not happy, that they can have choices that they do need to do. Go a different direction and how to do it. You can show them there's a right way, to do it. But yeah, staying in a situation that you're unhappy about and, burned out and uncomfortable, you're eventually going to hurt your health, your mental health, your physical health. You're going to hurt your family.
And even yes, and definitely even your loved ones, the very ones that you say that you're choosing to stay in there for, you eventually end up, if you're not already, hurting them. So really open up, take the time to bring them into, and I love that, Dr. Pinkston, bring them into the conversation. Have that conversation with them, kind of letting them know where you're at, where your mentals, how are you feeling, what this job, what this career decision is, what it's doing to you at this time.
Absolutely.
Because you'll be surprised. The people that love you want to see you happy, and they're more willing to sacrifice for your happiness by allowing you, go ahead, take this new job. I'll pick up a few more hours. We'll make it through. So just have that conversation and involve them in it.
I may open up a little wormhole here and I don't mean to, but there's another situation I could think of too when people are unhappy in their marriage and, looking at divorce or whatnot. And then there's a lot of times where I'll hear, especially men say, well, I want to stay for the children or, whatnot. And I've always told people in situations, sometimes you got to think about it in reverse. Sometimes staying for the kids is not what's best. Sometimes leaving the kids is what's best too. So that's another just a
different side
of it where you have to kind of put things into a little bit different perspective sometimes. And
I like that because again, we have to stop thinking that we're being selfish when we're choosing ourselves. So I really, really like that. Well, hey guys, Abigail, I know you done pinned up a couple of more. Is there anything else you want to say?
I think that's good on questions. Abraham James said to what you guys were just talking about, exactly, for the sake of our loved ones, we want to sacrifice everything we have.
Yes. Well, I want to say to everyone, this has been a great conversation. I cannot believe it's already that time.
All
Oh
right.
my God. I enjoy this conversation. I enjoy getting on, and I'm glad to see that our people enjoy coming on too. They
Mhm.
continue to get on, uh, engage, and follow. But again, today is my baby's birthday, my husband's birthday. He turned 62 today. So if you guys could give Brother Carter a shout out, shoot him a little love, say hello, happy birthday. He really, I know he's out there listening. And to you, Day and Dr. Pinkston,
Mhm.
before we go, if you have anything you would like to leave the people with.
Sure. I don't know what happened. Poor Day there. Bless her heart. She'll
Yes.
probably be back. So,
No, she'll
yeah,
come back.
absolutely. I just, bravery has a lot of different definitions to it. And there she is.
Mhm. Yes, she is.
Bravery has a lot of different definitions, and there's a time and a place for everything that you need in your world, and you just have to be able to be patient with yourself. You have to communicate with others. Just always, just like I say, look in the mirror and say that I'm doing the best I can, and and put that best foot out there. Day said it best: put your oxygen mask first. All those cliches, guys, they're all true for
Yes.
a reason. They're
Yeah.
all true for a reason. So I encourage you all to really take time for yourselves and make those choices and be happy. You get a little later in life and you start to look backwards and you start to see things a little differently.
Mhm.
And so start now while you're young and make yourself happy. Everybody around you will be better for it and happy for you. You guys can find me a lot of great information at drpbetterlife.com. I've got a few blogs. I got to get back to that and blog a little
Yeah.
more. But but I've got all of my podcasts. I've got almost 200 podcasts, all
Oh,
health.
wow.
And I think Val's going to do one with me today. So we're going
Yeah,
to.
I am. I'm excited. I'm excited.
So look for that coming up in the next week or two. But drpbetterlife.com, join me there. And I would love to have you on my social media as well.
All righty. And Day, what would you like to
Yes.
leave people with? I know you have something amazing. You always have these great
Yes.
trinkets.
I know she does.
Yes. So just going back to what Dr. Pinkston said about communicating with the people around you. I mean, just communicating with your environment. If you're feeling like you're overstaying, you're welcome. Having a conversation with the people around you would be a great place to start, so you can kind of get an idea of where you can validate your feelings, and if you get certain feedback, it may be validating something that you already know for yourself. So starting there, and just knowing that whatever you decide to step out into, if it truly is a path that you're supposed to be on, it will work out. You will feel fear, but you know what? You can do it scared. I've done it. Mrs.
Mhm.
Val has done it. Dr. Pixon has done it, and everyone else. So if there's fear there, don't be afraid of that. Just do it in fear, and try to corral the support around it that you need. And so for me, you guys, I am always available. Simplicity by Day. You can set up a call with me. You can follow me on Instagram at Simplicity by Day. I'm always on the gram in the DM, so you
Yeah.
can hit me up there. And just thankful to be on this platform. Thank you to Miss Val and Dr. Pinkston, and just you guys for your engagement and your insight and your questions as well.
Yes. Well, thank you. And of course, I want to say thank you to all of you all. Always remember, it's nothing wrong with choosing you. Choose you. And I'm going to say this and say this and say this. Overstaying your welcome sometime, most of the time, if not all the time, is unhealthy for you. And it can be toxic for someone else. So evaluate when you're there. Has this time come to an end? And don't feel guilty when you get the answer back, because at the end of the day, you want to be healthy and you want to be healthy for others. So, with that being said, until we meet again, we love you and bye.